Welcome to the Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast. Ryan Roberts here, taking you an inside look into some of the outstanding football players on the college football level. Today, I am joined by Tucker Kraft, star tight end out of South Dakota State. You know the name, Dallas Goedert, who came out a few years ago out of South Dakota State at the tight end position. I think Tucker is the next in line to be the next great tight end to come out of there and make a big difference on the NFL level. Nearly 800 yards this past year in a breakout campaign, one of the best in college football. And it's exciting to have Tucker Kraft in studio with us today. Tucker, appreciate you for coming on again, man. One of the best tight ends in college football. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, no problem. It's not that bad. We got conditioned this spring into getting up at about 4:45 for our summer workouts or our spring workouts, things like that. It's just the grind, and then your body gets used to it, and you're up before your alarm anyway. So,
well, speaking of the grind, man, I want to dive into a little bit. Obviously, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the fall season for the majority of players, not this past fall, the previous fall for the FCS level was obviously delayed into the spring. So you went right from spring football this past spring to fall from this past fall. That has got to be a little bit of a grind. I don't know if you would perceive it as a fun time. I don't know if you perceive it as a grind. I don't know if you were a big fan of it. Would just love to hear your perception of the spring to fall campaign in general.
Yeah, it's like the worst part of it all was we were in the national championship, and our quarterback, Mark Gronowski, tore his ACL. So we got in the portal. We got another quarterback, Chris Oladokin, and he did a great job for us. But I'd say the biggest part, obviously, was injuries. You got a lot of guys with some dings, and they took the better part of their summer rehabbing those injuries rather than being with the team and being healthy and doing all the strength conditioning and the stuff that's going to get you bigger, faster, stronger. So as long as you were healthy and you felt good, your body felt good going into the summer, then you were pretty solid. And I was one of those guys that was pretty fortunate. Although I did pick up an injury, a pretty good ligament sprain in my left knee when we played UNI at the Unidome. I was only out for about 4 weeks, so I was able to come back and I was able to rehab and get healthier throughout the season while playing. And then so the summertime, it was just like another area for me to get better. But yeah, and then in the fall, when you play combined total of almost 30 games in one calendar year, that puts a lot on your body. So I was definitely feeling it towards the end of the fall. But that was my first actual fall of football.
Wow.
That was the first fall of football I had played since 2018 when I was a senior in high school. So because my redshirt year. But the previous fall, that was a grind for sure. I mean, we were letting each other up in pads just about every other day. We were trying to simulate game speed reps in the fall because although FBS did have a fall season, we did not.
Before we continue on with this discussion, folks, I do want to tell you about Bet Online, today's sponsors. Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. Don't forget that the MLB is back. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to their website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Yeah, I think we could spend a lot of time, obviously, about the repercussions of the spring season and the COVID-19 pandemic, and we're seeing the ripple effects all over college football. But Tucker, I want to get in a little bit to your high school career. Obviously, I'd taken a look at just kind of your past at Timberlake High School. I know you played some quarterback at Timberlake. I know you played running back. I know you played middle linebacker. I think you even punted for the team. So obviously you did a lot there at Timberlake. Talk to me a little bit about just your high school career in general and your experience in the recruiting world. I would just love to hear about how you end up obviously at South Dakota State.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just start. My freshman year, I didn't really get up on the field that much. Even though we played on a 9-man roster, we still had like a lot of guys who gave it their all and liked to play football. And we never had problems filling up a bus. But yeah, like towards the end of my freshman year, was just a special teams kid, and I played a lot of DN when I did get in, D end and like backup Q, but that wasn't really anything special. And then my sophomore junior season, I was like quarterback and defensive end, and I liked that a lot. More of like a wildcat guy. I could get out on like a jet pass, but like I'm the one on the sweep, throwing the ball, just like a bunch of weird stuff. 9-man football, you got a lot more field because you got 4 less people. So although it is a little bit slower, it's a lot of fun. And being a running back, and quarterback and linebacker, I got the chance to see the field a little bit more, like from a game standpoint, understanding football. But yeah, it definitely held me back whenever I got to South Dakota State, and I had no idea what was going on. It was a completely new game, and I didn't pick up that playbook until like I didn't understand all the concepts again until probably November, December of my redshirt freshman year. But my recruitment process was pretty fast, maybe a little odd to some too. It was like a 2-week process, and then that was it. I wasn't recruited at all, and then I went to a camp, and then I got about all the attention from every coach in the Division II conference that we have in like around South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa, the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. And then we had and then Coach Stig, he called me and he offered me like 2 or 3 days after the camp. So it was just like South Dakota State's prospect camp. And then I went to another camp, and that was pretty much it. I committed the next week. I was the first commit in my class. I was just so excited. And then after that, I started getting some attention from FBS schools. I went on an unofficial at Iowa State. I was expecting to kind of get a scholarship there, but the guy that they were going to offer me, he decided to stay and not leave for the draft. So I just stayed at South Dakota State. But I had a large decision to make with Wyoming. They had offered me. I was on my way back home from a volleyball game. I pick up the phone, and Coach Bull's calling me. He's telling me that they're going to offer me a full ride. So I was pretty ecstatic about that too. I went on a visit out there, and I actually unofficially decommitted and then committed to Wyoming in the process. And I was oohed and awed by their facilities, and they really had it going on out there. I liked it a lot. But then ultimately I chose to stay home, South Dakota State, just a better chance to be with my family, have them be able to come see my games, things like that. But a very, very short process. Yeah, since then I've been a Jack.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Wyoming. I know I've been out there and it's really beautiful. I just love that area overall, the Montana, Wyoming, Idaho type of spot. I really like, I'm a big fan of Yellowstone National Park. So getting out west a little bit can be obviously a great time. So I want to talk to you, obviously, Tucker, about the breakout year that you just had. But I would really want to dive deep because I don't think people understand this enough right now for the South Dakota State team and the talent that you have on the offensive side of the football. And I would love for you to just talk a little bit about that because Chris Oladokun was just drafted, obviously, in this past NFL draft. Aaron Johnson's going to be taking his game to the next level. Pierre Strong Jr., of course, went in the 4th round, who my co-host Joe DeLeon, who is a big fan of. But even looking forward to next season, you got the Yankee twins outside. I'm a big fan of Garrett Greenfield at quarterback. You mentioned, at offensive tackle. You mentioned Mark Gronowski coming back at quarterback, which I think is going to be a big, obviously, bump for this team heading into next season. Isaiah Davis maybe end up being a higher drafted player than Pierre Strong Jr. long-term. So a lot of talent. And for me, I would argue that there's a lot of FBS teams that do not have as much talent as you guys have offensively.
Yeah, I would have to go ahead and agree with you. And I would say, I've heard this before, but I also like to put it in my own words. I believe that you can get guys in the FCS level, and you can just continue to get like real coaching that the coaches believe in their players and they want to push them, and there's passion and there's drive. Versus at the FBS level, I feel like more or less guys at that level are more of a number. Things are really, really believed in as a business in the FBS level, and especially coaching. Like to get a job at a high coaching level, like such as in Alabama, you have to like know someone who knows someone to even get that application in. So I believe that coaches at the FCS level have like a better understanding for athletes per se. Could be completely biased because I've only ever played at the FCS level, but that's my own right, I guess. But yeah, I think our success really just starts outside of or off the field. We get to know each other a lot. We do skull sessions. We have a mental strength coach. We really dive deep into each other's personal lives, and then with that, we know each other's whys. We know how we operate. Like we went as far as learning each other's love languages, like quality time, like getting to know guys, words of affirmation, physical touch. Like if I'm having a bad time, like some guy coming up and slapping me on the butt or something, telling me next play, keep your head up. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely we learn to hold each other accountable off the field. And then even in the weight room, like there's a lot of times like this summer, I was excited, like not for 7-on-7, but to get in that hot, dingy weight room and go crazy with my teammates. There was and I had opportunities this summer where I broke multiple strength records for the tight ends, and then set a program record in the power clean, things like that. It's just like you get your guys around you and they're coaching you up and they're yelling for you. It's just as fun as it is when you got your helmet, shoulder pads, straps on, you're ready to roll. But yeah, the grind, as you were saying earlier, it really started this summer for me. And then going into this fall, I didn't know that I was going to have this kind of a fall. It just kind of started happening. I guess I just kept scaffolding off of it and making myself more opportunities by pushing myself further and further and further. But it really probably happened in the fall camp that I had a good fall camp. I would start running these not crazy routes that receivers would primarily run, but I would do it and burn linebackers and DBs and corners. And I started working on like the little things, like my arm over release, my breakdown push by, things like that, and learn how to get away with using less force and be smoother in the pass game. And then in the run game, it really just came down to me taking my first 2 steps correctly, launching my hands, and then just trying to drive the guy that I'm blocking into the ground. Just I'm someone who really doesn't let up until the echo of the whistle. And that's something I take a lot of pride in. I like being nasty. I like having grit. And I like putting that stuff on film because guys like you also love it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And it's fun. You can overpower a grown ass man. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No. This is a completely rated R podcast. You can say whatever you like, best friend.
Yeah. Just taking a guy against his will and putting him into the ground, and he can't do anything about it. Like there's something about that just makes you swell with pride. But yeah. So we get to Colorado State. I have like 5 receptions and I don't know, like less than 100 yards. But I had a great game, and I had the chance to also watch Trey McBride. And I thought, wow, this guy's the real deal. I'm gonna try to simulate some of the things that I saw him do, and be better because of it. So that's something that also made me better, was watching a lot of film on guys that I believed were next level talent, not just like in my own time, but like also with my coaches. Like we pull up our huddle and we got NFL film for days. Like we got the Chiefs and the Niners, and that's 2 of the best tight ends in the league right there. And then granted, we have a huddle library filled with just Dallas Goedert film that I've watched over and over and over again. He's arguably one of the best tight ends in the league to the PFF. So, and that's something that's great too, because he's also scaffolding the way for FCS players in the league. He's like the second highest paid tight end in the league right now, and he does it. He's not getting paid for no reason.
Yep.
He's a very talented athlete. But so yeah, we started at Colorado State, 5 receptions, less than 100 yards. I saw Trey McBride. I thought, wow, this guy's a real deal. And I just started playing more aggressively and with more passion. And, the coaches found a way to put me in the game. And oftentimes it was always for success. They wouldn't throw the ball to someone or make a play around someone who wasn't going to succeed. And I believe that I also had that confidence. Like I say things with confidence. I carry myself with confidence. So I think that also creates opportunities for me. But
yeah, man, I love that you mentioned obviously putting yourself up against a guy like a Trey McBride, which you guys were able to beat, obviously Colorado State in that first game of the season. I was a big fan of Trey. I thought he went even a little later than I originally anticipated. I thought he was be a very early second-round pick, maybe even fit into the back half of the first round. But you mentioned Trey McBride. You mentioned Dallas Goedert. Obviously, Goedert has kind of laid that pipeline down at South Dakota State for the position that you play in. I know you're a player that would like to continue that trajectory. So can you just talk to me a little bit about the excitement that you have playing the tight end position after Dallas Goedert and hopefully continuing that pipeline for continuing to produce next-level talent at tight ends?
Yeah, I mean, really, it all started with him. He's a good recruiting ploy. They're gonna bring tight ends on visits, and they're gonna say, "Hey, like Dallas Goedert, you ever heard of him?" And of course, yes, I have heard of him. And they're gonna say, "Yeah, we love throwing the ball to tight ends. You come here, we're gonna throw the ball to you." Like that's you get a kid from point A to point B pretty fast, and you get them there excited because we do have a great tight end tradition. I had 65 receptions, and I was a leading receiver on the team until like week 8 or something like that. It wasn't because I was playing bad either. It's because we also have like 2 of the best receivers in the Missouri Valley in FCS football. So yeah, I love this team, and I love the capabilities we have on a much larger scale than like people. I've had people say to me like, "You play at South Dakota State, oh, it's not real Division I football." And I'm just like, teach their own, I guess. But, I didn't reach across any kind of table and slap them in the face, but I did feel disrespected. And a lot of guys in the FCS level transfer up. And, because of NIL, that's a topic for scrutiny as well. And, I've been approached by very, very big schools that were in need of tight ends and offering you NIL deals from collectives that total 6 figures. And it's crazy. And, I'm not receiving any kind of compensation from South Dakota State or NIL from South Dakota State that would beat that out. But my pride in putting on the yellow and blue does that on its own. And my pride of saying Tucker Kraft, South Dakota State, when my name's flashing across the bottom of a screen someday, is going to set me apart from someone else, because I'm building those opportunities for myself and for guys after me. Absolutely. And it really all started with guys in front of us too. So Christian Roseboom, he just won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Yep. And he did it by working his tail off. And Dallas Goedert was a 2nd-round draft pick. And Jordan Brown plays corner in the league. And the list just keeps going. We had Jim Langer and Adam Timmer. Like, we got like legends in the NFL as well. So,
yep.
But yeah, those knowing your culture, I'd say, and being a part of the traditions of South Dakota State, that'll set people apart from me just being like a normal kid trying to pursue draft dreams.
Yeah, man, I love a few of those mentions, obviously. I'll say a lot of people, kind of shake their head at South Dakota State a little bit, and they know the recent guys that come out. But as a Rams fan, I remember Adam Timmerman growing up, and he was one of my guys. So great mention of a guy like Adam Timmerman, great football player, and a Super Bowl champion with the LA Rams back, they were the St. Louis Rams back in the day. So I want to talk to you, Tucker, just kind of end this here. about your potential to play at the NFL level. Obviously, I am a guy that whether it's the 2023 NFL draft or it's 2024, whatever the future holds for you, obviously I'm not a psychic. I can't predict those types of things, but I think you're going to be a guy that's going to have an opportunity to play in NFL for a long time with the talent level that you have. So can you just speak a little bit about the possibility to play in the NFL and just what type of blessing that would be for you overall if you were able to carve out a long career?
It is a dream of mine, and it would be awesome if I could come out next season, but I'm not banking on that. I want to have a year that precedes last, but even better. And that would push me over the edge. That would send me to my dream essentially. But at the moment, I'd be lying if I said like I wasn't being lit up by guys who want to manage me. And I've created a list. I have a top 3. I have like guys like financial advisors lined up, lawyers ready to look over documents and things like that. But ultimately, I just want to do what's best for me and my family. My dad, he had a shot in the league, but he wasn't there health wise. So that's one thing that I like to pick up where he left off was I want to be my father's son. I want to pursue league dreams. I want to do great things for my family and my community and my friends, but I want to take care of my body. So if at the end of the season that I'm pretty banged up and I don't think that I could compete combine wise, then I'm just going to push for my second year. I'm not going to take that chance, especially because I'm in an offense that is not oriented around me, but I am a centerpiece.
Sure.
So I love playing football here, and I love the fan base, even though it's not as large as some stages. It's still really, really nice to feel secluded at times. But yeah, next year is the plan coming out, but I'm not banking on it.
Again, we are joined by Tucker Kraft, All-American tight end out of South Dakota State, the next great tight end prospect to come out of the FCS, in my opinion. Tucker is off to a great start. Obviously, this past year, I have big expectations for what the South Dakota State team is going to do in the future there. For any college football fans out there, make sure that you pop on South Dakota State this upcoming season. Keep an eye out for Tucker, especially if you're an NFL draft fan as well, whether it is for the 2023 cycle or 2024. Tucker, again, man, appreciate this so much. Love getting kind of the inside scoop into what you have going on, man. This was fantastic to just kind of get a little bit into your story.